Saxon Algebra 1, Lesson 107. Greetings, students. Today we're going to talk about some fancy slopes. You can always tell when I've made up my own title for a lesson and not use John's because it doesn't really sound like John does it. I hope you can tell the difference between John and me. Okay, so what we have is two scenarios that allow us to find slopes without having to use this mama. Remember, we figured this one out. And we know that if we have 2 points, we can plug in and we can solve for m, right? That's really cool. We call this the slope formula because it allows us to magically find the slope of a line if we have 2 points. Today, we're going to figure out ways that we can find the slope of a line using other tools, okay? Now, the first one is when we have parallel lines. And I'm going to draw you a little picture. Here's a graph. And I'm going to draw just randomly a line on it. And now I'm going to just randomly as well draw a line that is parallel to it. Okay? I'm trying to be as parallel as possible. Remember that the slope measures the rise over the run. It measures which way it's tipping, and it measures how steep or flat the line is. Here's an interesting thing about parallel lines. Parallel lines have equal slopes. Whoa. And we can kind of see that, right? If you're measuring the tip of the line, right, the wonkiness of it, then it makes sense that if they're exactly the same, they should have the same slope. Notice that the y-intercept is going to be different because this one goes there and this one hits there. So the y-intercept will be different, and that's the b. But the m, the slope, will be exactly the same if the lines are parallel. Aha! So that helps us sort through a problem like example 107.1. Find the equation of the line that passes through and is parallel to 4x plus 3y equals 7. Okay, so this is a point that's on our line. Let's pretend this is our line. And I didn't draw this accurately to match this. I'm just giving you an idea. And this is the parallel line. Okay, there's our parallel line. If we can find the slope of this line, we know it's going to be the same for our line. So we have to figure out what the slope of this line is. And John has been a naughty little brat, and he has given us a messed up form of the equation. He didn't give us cute little slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b. He gave us this nasty mess. So we're going to fix it. That's our step one, because in this mess, we can't see what the slope is. We have to rearrange things first. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 4x from both sides, because I'm trying to get it in this shape, right? So then that gives me 3y equals minus 4x plus 7. I want to go ahead and put my x in that place because I want it to look just like this when I'm done. And then we divide everything by 3. And we're creating ugly fractions, but it's okay. That doesn't matter because we don't have to graph it. Okay, so now I get, for the equation of the parallel line, it is y equals minus 4/3 x plus 7 over 3. All right? Parallel lines have equal slopes. So if this is the slope of the parallel line, then we get to use the very same slope. Our m equals minus 4 over 3 also. Oh, how cute, right? You just borrow it, take it, steal it, loan it, copy it, clone it. Okay, I'll stop now. Okay, but how do we find the rest of the equation? How do we find the b? Ah, that's where this information comes in. This is the x, this is the y, and this is the m. So we'll plug those three in and solve for b. Okay, so this was step 1, was to find m, and step 2 is to find b. And the way we do that is using this, and we say 3, because that's y, equals m times x. M is minus 4 over 3. X is negative 1 plus b. Cool? We only have 1 point this time. We don't have 2, so we know we can't use this formula. So instead, we use this information about the parallel line because we know that parallel lines have equal slopes. So we figured out that dude's slope, and then we cloned it for ourselves. And now we're plugging it in with this information to solve for our b. Okay, this becomes positive 4 over 3. So I have to subtract it from both sides. This is all gone. Now, in order to do that, I have to get a 3 on the bottom, right? So I'm going to multiply this by 3 over 3, and that will become 9 over 3. Cross that out so I don't confuse myself. 4/3. No, I'm sorry. I can't talk correctly. Oh, this is negative 3, and I didn't write that there. Right? I just wrote positive 3, but it's negative 3 and negative 1. I got the negative on the 1, but I dropped it on the 3. So now I picked it back up. I'm good. Okay, so this becomes negative 13 over 3 equals b, which is chilling down there, staying out of all this trouble. And so now we know our m and our b, so we can write y equals minus 4/3 x minus 13 over 3. That is the equation of our line, which goes through that point and is parallel to that point. Probably doesn't look like this because this is a negative slope, so we know it's going downhill. But that was just to help us with our thinking. Oh, that was fun, right? And this is a weird lesson because usually there's A and B, and sometimes they build on each other and get harder. In this case, B is actually easier than A. All right, so let's switch topics and talk about our other kind of fancy slope. And you will laugh. And the funny thing is John wants us to do 2 of these problems, but he only did 1 of those. No, he wants us to do 3 of these problems. This is the harder one, but he wants us to work harder on the other one. I don't know what he's thinking. John. Okay. Example 107.2, ready? Find the equation of the line that passes through the point 3, 4, and has a slope of minus 3/4. Usually when we're doing these problems to find the equation of a line, first we find the slope and then we find the y-intercept, right? First the m, then the b. John's just, look at that, it knocked my marker top off. That's how flabbergasted I am. John's just giving us the first part of the problem. He just says, there you go, there's your m. What? So now all we have to do is this part, right? It's the second part. There's our m. So we're just going to plug it in using this x and this y. 4 equals minus 3/4 times 3 plus b. Isn't that the weirdest thing, how easy it is? It's just like half the problem. All right, so this becomes minus 9 over 4. So we're going to add 9 over 4 to both sides. This needs a 4 on the bottom, so I'm going to multiply it by 4 over 4. I get 16 over 4. These cancel. 16 over 4 plus 9 over 4 is 25 over 4 equals b. It's just down there by himself. And now we can write our equation. Y equals minus 3/4 x plus 25 over 4. Yay, that's the right answer. We only had to do half the problem. That's a pretty fancy slope problem, isn't it? Here, John says, let me give you half the answer. Okay, I'll take it. And now he wants us to do 2 more like this. I mean, okay. Find the equation of the line that passes through the point, minus 5, 11. Somebody remind me not to drop that. And has a slope of 1 over 7. Remember, slope equals m in our equation. And here we are again. We don't have to do anything. There's no parallel line trick. There's no slope formula. There it is. Half the problem's done for you. So we just plug in. We use this and plug in. This is my x. This is my y. So I say 11 equals 1 over 7 times minus 5. Thank you for reminding me not to drop that minus sign. Plus b. This becomes minus 5 over 7, right? I just multiply those. So I'm going to have to add 5 over to 7 to both sides. In the meantime, I would like to fix this so it has a denominator of a 7. So that's going to become 77 over 7, right? Cross out my calculation so I don't confuse myself. Don't erase. Please don't erase. My mission between now and the final is to cure all of my students from erasing. Ever. Don't erase. Just draw a little line through it. And I've ranted about this before, but I know math teachers who say, students, you must use pen to do your homework because I don't want you to erase. Oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm not one for bossing my students around like that. I prefer to let you manage your, you get to make choices in life. I don't have to tell you what to use to write with, but I really like that idea because don't erase, don't erase, don't erase. It just leads to perfectionist tendencies that are not necessary. Okay, I should finish this problem, shouldn't I? 82 over 7 equals, this all cancels, b. All right, so now I've got my m and my b, and I can write y equals 1 over 7x plus 82 over 7. Beautiful, right? Some, I don't know who, mathematicians maybe would write it like this. They would smush that x and that 1 together, which is okay. And they would write it like this. But I prefer this because what I want to see my slope in all its glory. I don't want to have to pull them apart in order to see my slope. So that's okay. It's not wrong, but I much prefer that one. So here. It's not a smiley face. He doesn't get a smiley face. He gets a, you're weird. I don't know how I feel about you. Okay, one more. Do you ever wonder how long the lessons would be if I did not go on all of my side rants? I think about that sometimes. But you know what? That would be boring. That would be so boring if I just talked about math and nothing else. I mean, I'm not saying that the other things I talk about are fascinating, but at least it's a break. You know what I'm saying? Find the equation of the line that passes through the point. Okay, John's making a little point with us right here. And has a slope of... His point is, even if the numbers get big and wild, it doesn't change anything. It's still fine. Okay, so this is our x, this is our y. I don't have my equation in front of me, so I'm going to write it again. Right? Okay, and now we just plug in. Y is 40 equals m minus 1/2 times x minus 50, thanks for reminding me not to drop that, plus b. Okay, beautiful, that looks really good. So now, like we always do, we simplify this part, we do this multiplication. Let's see, this is gonna be positive 50 over 2, which is equal to 25. So I'm gonna cross those two mid steps out. You can do those in your head if you want, but this is what we now have. It's now 25, I'll just write plus b equals 40. So we can see everything again. So now I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. 15 equals B. Okay. Now we're ready to put together our creature, and we say y equals minus 1/2 x plus 15. And once again, I choose to keep my slope and that x separate. I could mush him in up there and write it as minus x over 2. I don't like that. I'm not going to do that. Ready? Yay, happiness. That, my friends, is lesson, I almost said, the page number it's on is 452. I almost said this was lesson 452. That would be a lot of lessons for 1 year, wouldn't it? That's lesson 107, look. We're almost done with this week. Yay! Okay, that's all. Goodbye.